Today we're going to be installing the Custom Dynamics Saddlebag Lights on my 2024 Harley-Davidson Street Glide. Inside the packaging we have the right and left saddlebag lights, the harness adapter, some wire ties and sticky back retainers, and the magnet for changing the sequential pattern, and then the instruction sheet. The list of tools today is pretty simple. The only required tool is isopropyl alcohol, which I have mixed 50-50 with water. And then optionally, I've got some end snips. I like to cut the tails off the zip ties with those. And then I have some bike wash and spray wax, so I can clean the parts of the bags that are not accessible while they're on the bike. And anything the isopropyl touches is going to be stripped of its wax. So I'm going to want to wash and wax after the alcohol touches it. First thing we're going to do is remove the saddlebag and then the side cover, so then we can remove the main fuse. Anytime we're dealing with electronics, I always remove the main fuse first. Alright, so with the fob present, we're going to turn the run switch on. Once we hear the chirp or the fuel pump stops priming, we can then pull the fuse. Now put that somewhere safe, and then importantly, turn the run switch off. Alright, so go ahead and remove the right saddlebag, and then we'll want to go ahead and remove the seat so that we can disconnect the rear fender lighting harness. Alright, so under the seat we have the rear fender lighting harness. We'll just go ahead and disconnect that, and once that's disconnected, we'll install the Custom Dynamics lighting harness. It only goes on one way. There's a male and a female end. So let's plug that in. And once that's connected, the best way I've found to route this is sort of in an S shape like this, and it sits neatly under the seat. Alright, so the next step is to test fit the bag light, and here I have the left light, and I know that because we have a purple wire on the connector, and that's for the left. The instructions say that the light with a brown wire goes on the right bag. So we're going to take the light and set it in place. I still have all the protective film on everything, but we can just get an idea of where it's going. We want to keep it a few millimeters below the bag lid. And it's important here, the lid has a slight angle to it. So the outside of the lid is a little higher than the inside of the lid. So I'm going to make sure that the light follows that bag lid line. The next step is to clean this area with alcohol to strip it of any wax or contaminants or anything that would prevent the adhesive backing on the lights from sticking to it. Alright, so now remove the plastic film from the light as well as the red adhesive backing. And now be careful to place this exactly where you want it because you don't get a second chance. Make sure to keep the light a couple millimeters from the bag lid and keep the angle parallel to the bag lid. When you've got it in place, do not push hard on the lens of the light. It might crack. So always apply light pressure to the edges of the lens. Press and hold for about 30 seconds. Now that our light is on, we can go ahead and route the cable. So the instructions have us placing sticky back wire tie retainers in 3 places. Here, here, and here. So we're going to clean these areas with alcohol. Make sure that the retainers stick. Okay, so once we've let that dry for a minute, we can go ahead and remove the protective film from the wire tie retainers and get them placed exactly where we need them. Once the sticky backs are in place, what I like to do is get the wire ties set in place, so I'm not trying to fumble with them and the wire at the same time. And with that done, we can go ahead and zip the wire in place. I'll leave these a little loose for now until I get the whole wire in place and then test fit it on the bike. I like to turn these so the tail is pointing down. That way when we snip them, the sharp edge is out of the way if you reach behind your bag when you're cleaning. Now the instructions say that the cable goes under the saddlebag bolt along this contour and up and around the other saddlebag bolt. I don't see a difference going above or below it, either when the bag's on there or not. So just go ahead and cinch the wire tie snug and snip the ends off. Since we did use alcohol to clean the side of the bag, it's really stripped any wax off that was on there. So we'll want to go ahead and clean the bag and reapply any wax that we had. Now let's do the same on the right saddlebag. Now that the second saddlebag light is installed, we can go ahead and install our saddlebags and hook up the lights. Let's connect the saddlebag lights to the light harness. So here on the left bag, remember we have the purple wire on the connector. So we make sure we plug that into the harness connector with the purple wire. And then on the right side, we have the brown wires. Now we need to put our fuse back in and put the side cover back on. So with the fob present, we need to make sure the run switch is off. And then we can put the fuse back in. Once we hear a chirp, or after 3 seconds, if you don't have a siren, we can go ahead and put the run switch to run. And there we can see the run lights are on. Now let's turn the hazards on and see how the lights look. They're set to sequential. I'll leave them like that for now and show you how to change them near the end of the video. So let's take care of this mess of wires under the seat. When the seat's installed, it's a little difficult to get these light connectors. So what I'm going to do is take about 4 inches of extra wire and put that between the bag and the side cover. And then I'll just bundle the remaining wire together and wire tie it to the harness under the seat. Now let's do the same thing on the left side. Okay, so I have this wire tie going around the extra from the saddlebag light as well as the harness, which keeps it nice and tight right there. And on the left side, I've got the extra bundled up here on this larger connector, which holds it snug against the main harness adapter we installed. So everything sits very nice right there. And with the extra we tucked between the saddlebag and the side cover, you'll be able to remove the saddlebag bolts, lean the bag away from the bike, disconnect the light, and then remove the bag. And of course, you can reverse the process to install the bag. And clean your fender while you're at it. Okay, so let's adjust the flash pattern of the lights. Let's go ahead and turn the run switch to on. And then within 20 seconds, we need to place the magnet on top of the light near the middle. And you can see that it shows a sequential pattern. And if we remove the magnet and place it back on within 10 seconds, it switches to the next light pattern, which is a delayed sequential pattern. And if we remove the magnet and place it back on the light within 10 seconds again, it switches again to the next light pattern, the standard flash. And if we do it a third time within 10 seconds, it goes back to the sequential pattern. So here's the finished product. I think they look great without distracting from these clean lines on the new Touring models. And that's something that Custom Dynamics does really well. They deliver great products with superior function, but they're subtle and they don't overshadow the rest of the bike.